Algebra 2 kids, this is Dr. Callahan with week 6 Tuesday. How are you guys doing? Go ahead and answer the following questions and pause the video. And I just realized I had a little typo here for, there we go, week 6. Here we go. Anyways, so happy Tuesday. Pause the video and answer the following question for your warm-up block, and we will get started shortly. All right, so we are in, and I'm going to change this, so that's not correct, week 6. And our topic of this week is going to be multiplying and dividing polynomials, or it's not rational functions. And it would be great if I could spell this correctly. Hold on a second. Okay, that looks good. All right, and then remember, you guys have your math Excel, and so let's go ahead and pull that up first. Let me share with everybody that's online as well. So you're going to go to Algebra 2, and it looks like I logged out, but that's okay. Washoe County School District Math Excel is what you type into this, and you go to Envision Mathematics, and then from there, you just go to Sign In, and then you look for your class for Algebra 2. You don't go to the first one, you go to the one that says Math Excel. Keep in mind that, you know, your Math Excel and also your assessment on Math Excel does weigh pretty heavily with your grade. And so then I'm going to go to my assignment manager, and let's go ahead and go to the unassigned. And since we're talking about multiplying, dividing rational expressions, this is going to be your homework assignment for this week. And I'm going to go ahead and label this. Let's go edit. And I'm just going to put week 6 homework. Multiplying and dividing rational expressions. Next, there are 10 questions. Next, and it is going to be due on this Sunday, which is going to be the 13th by 11 p.m. You are allowed to have 3 attempts on this assignment and then save and assign. So you guys will have that right here for week 5 for your homework assignment for this week. Tomorrow is going to, or week 6, sorry, not week 5. So tomorrow is going to be, let's see, how do I unorder this? I don't like that. Let's put that, I don't know, number 10. I don't like this. Let's see, let's put that number 8. Okay, let's change this to number 9. Okay, now it's in order. Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. Let's put that at number 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, good. Now it's in order. Yeah, okay. Let's go back. So when we're talking about multiplying, dividing rational expressions, rational functions, your homework assigned Monday, which you guys have access to now. And then I just forgot one more thing. I'm going to go back here and reopen your quizzes, because on tomorrow's Wednesday, you guys will have your Math Excel on that day. It's always due on the Sunday by 11 p.m. So if you didn't do week 5's homework and quiz, I'm going to reopen it, but it is going to be late. So just keep that in mind. And there will be a penalty. And depending on when you actually complete it, it could be anywhere between a 10% penalty to a 40% penalty. So let me go ahead and change this one. Well, actually, let's see if I edit. So yeah, so the sooner that you actually complete it, the better, because then you'll only get a 10% penalty versus a 40. All right, so you have that done. And now let's move on to today's stuff. How do you raise your grade? Tomorrow's Wednesday. I'll have you guys do your assessment in class. And when you're done with your assessment on Math Excel, you guys are welcome to go ahead and start working on your homework as well in class. I usually give you guys one day in class to work on the Math Excel stuff. And the other days we'll do our activities and our guided notes. And if you're like, how do I go about raising my grade? I would suggest attend the class regularly. Make sure you guys do the exit ticket, the warm up. Make sure you guys do the guided notes. Math, Excel, and the quiz is really important because that's a good portion of your grade. And also, I'm here after school for tutoring, so you're welcome to come see me, and we can have a little chit chat about what you can do to raise your grade as well. And tomorrow's Wednesday, so I will be updating your grades from last week tomorrow. Okay. Another thing is, if you're consistently absent, you need to go to the YouTube channel for this class. Just because you weren't here doesn't mean that the rest of us were not here, and class is still in session, obviously. And so you have the QR code. It's the second QR code. This will take you to the 22 videos for this class, and the video goes all the way down to week 5 Friday, which is the last time I saw you guys, last week on Friday. And it goes all the way up to week 1. And so everything that we've done in this class for the 22 days I've seen you guys is video recorded, and they're about like 20 to 30 minutes. So just make sure you guys are staying up to date. I don't give extra credit in this class, mainly because it's like, I already give you guys a lot of work, and as long as you do the work, then you'll get the grade. You know what I mean? You don't have to be good at math to pass this class, but you, however, need to do at least 60% of the work. So that's basically what you need to do. So I don't give out extra credit, but yeah, you don't need to be good at math to pass this class. All right, so today we're going to start with the multiplying and dividing rational functions. We're going to talk about this basically almost to the rest of the week. And then afterwards on Thursday and Friday, we're going to start with adding and subtracting. We're going to continue that next week. And then we're into with solving rational expressions. You have President's Day that's coming up. And then that'll be the end of this unit. And I'll give you guys a brand new unit for the next one at the end of February. Okay. All right, so this is multiplying and dividing rational functions, day 1. The only thing you need today is the worksheet. So come on up, it's this white piece of paper right here, and make sure you guys grab a copy of it. No calculators or anything else, just that. Last time I saw you guys, we did finish up with your horizontal and vertical asymptote. So if you're in class, last class, this is what we did. So make sure you have this filled out in your guided notes and watch the video because it kind of keeps you guys up to date on it. And so let's go ahead and just jump right into our notes today. So we're going to take a look at the white piece of paper, which looks like this. And I'm going to go over the 7 questions on the left side, and I'm going to go over one, but then I'm also going to expect you guys to do one on your own, because I feel like if I do one, you try it, then that's how you get better with it. All right, so let's start off with this first, okay? So multiplying and dividing rational expressions. You put all of the polynomials in fractions. We're going to go ahead and factor, actually not in fractions, I should say in order. In order. Actually, let's put standard form. Yeah, there we go. Standard form. So what is standard form? Standard form is 8x squared plus bx plus c. So it has to be in order from the, oh no, this is the white piece of paper you guys have. Does everybody have the white piece of paper? Yeah. The what? Those are not the questions? No, there's no questions. On the white piece of paper, you guys? Oh. Sorry, come on back. Sorry, come on back. This is totally my fault. I gave you guys an English one. Come on back. Sorry. Let me have the white paper back. I gave you guys the quiz for my Algebra 1 class tomorrow, so sorry, put that back. This is yours right here. All right. So anyways, let's go back to the step 1. Put all the polynomials in standard form. So 8x squared plus bx plus c. And it has to be from like the biggest exponent down to the smallest. And then step 2, factor all of the polynomials. And when I say factor, you're going to factor it like this. or you find the greatest common factor, and it'll be like that, okay? And don't worry, I'm gonna show you guys how to do that. Change the division to multiplication, because remember when we divide fractions, you can have a division by taking the reciprocal of the second fraction. So that just means the second fraction, you just flip it, like the denominator becomes a numerator and numerator becomes a denominator. Step 4, cancel the terms numerator or denominator. Multiply the numerator and denominator, and leave the answers in factored form. And that is your 4 steps. I know those are like really, really wordy, and you're like, what does that mean exactly? I'm going to show you guys examples so it makes sense in a few minutes. All right, let's take a look at example 1. So simplify the following. So looking at this right here, I know it's not great picture. It's a little hard to see. I think that's a 3. Let's just make that a 2, a 2, a 3, and a 4. Sorry. If you can just change that, that would be great. Okay, so then as I look at this right here, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on this first polynomial fraction, where I'm going to go, okay, I have x squared and x squared. I can cancel that out, okay, because they both have a 2. Then with the y's, if you think about it, this is 1, 2, 3y, y squared is 2y. I can cancel out 2 of the y's, and I still have a y left over. So 6 divided by 2 is a 3. Y stays on top. 1's on the bottom, okay? Because everything in the bottom canceled. Now I take a look at my second fraction. With my second fraction, I don't do anything until I simplify everything. And I notice that there's an 18 and a 10. 2 goes into 18 9 times. 2 goes into 10 5 times. So I reduce that. And then I don't have any x's on top, so I keep the x cubed in the bottom. But then if you take a look at the y's, do you guys remember back in algebra, if you move the smallest exponent down, it becomes a minus, right? So then what do I have on the bottom? Y to the 4 minus 2 is just y squared. And if you're like, I don't feel comfortable doing that, how do you know for sure? Well, if you have y squared, there's 2 y's on top. If you have y to the 4, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 y's on the bottom. And then you can just cancel 1 y on the top, 1 y on the bottom. And guess what? Don't you just have 2 y's on the bottom? So it's a y squared. So then I'm going to go back to my question, and it's a divide by 9 over 5x cubed y squared. Then my next step from here is, so I'm going to move on to the next step, 3y over 1 times. You're going to be changing that division to a multiplication, but then what happens to your second fraction? You flip it to the reciprocal. So you have 5x cubed y squared over 9. Before you want to multiply across, you want to ask yourself, is there anything else I can cancel and reduce? Top and bottom. I have a 3 and a 9, and I know that 3 divided by 3 is going to give me a 1. 9 divided by 3 is going to give me a 3. So I can cancel that one more time. And then I look at this one more time and go, is there anything else I can cancel? I don't think so. So then what do? I just multiply across, multiply across. So on top, 5x cubed, y times y squared is y cubed. 3 stays on the bottom. That's your answer. So if you're working on this, I would suggest that, you put your cell phone down, make sure you take a look at it and give it a try. Okay, so for you guys to try this, do you guys see on the right side where it says you try? I'm gonna have you guys try the question on the right side. So the you try question number 1, I'm gonna have you guys go ahead and do that. So you're gonna try this question right here. So you give that a try, you guys. So for the you try, give that one a try and see where you guys get. All right, so then I'm gonna go ahead and go over to question number 2, which is right over here. So let's take a look at this one here. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the left side. So with this one, if you look at it, I have a trinomial, you guys, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna factor the top and factor the bottom, okay? So on the top, you have a -6, and remember I taught you guys how to make a little table. Your last number is -6, your middle number is -5. So what negative numbers multiply together give you a -6? And you can go ahead and include like a -1 and 6, +1, -6, -2 and 3, +2 and -3. But only one of those groupings will give you the middle number, which is a -5, okay? And this is the one that will work. That's the only one. So 1 and -6. So x plus 1, x minus 6. If you guys can make sure you're paying attention as well, that would be great. And then if you look at the second one, the denominator, you have x squared minus 1. This is one of the special ones. So x squared plus, think about 0x minus 1. So think about it. What times what gives you a -1? But then when you guys add it together, it gives me a 0. And because it's a special factor, remember +1 and -1 will give you a 0. So it's just x plus 1, x minus 1. But the numbers, they have to be the same with opposite signs. And then once I have that, what can I cancel top and bottom? Is there anything that's exactly the same that I can cancel? Yeah, those two right there. So then I'm going to cancel that. And then your answer is just x minus 6, x minus 1. And that's it. Okay, I'm gonna have you guys try this one right here. So give that one a try. And again, it's like if I keep on showing you how to do them, you're never gonna figure out how to do it on your own. So you gotta give it a try on your own, you guys. Your answer for this one should just be 1, because once you factor it, you're going to cancel out the x minus 4 top and bottom, and then you're just left with the x plus 3, x plus 3. Well, if you divide those two together, it's just going to give you 1. So that's the answer you should have. Okay, let's go on to the number 4, you guys. Okay, so now that we practice with factoring and whatnot, now we're going to get to the nitty gritty, which is actually multiplying, dividing. Okay, so the first one is a multiplication, and you know that because there's a multiply, and the second one is a division because there's a division right there. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at number 4. So for number 4, you're going to be multiplying. This right here has a 1 on the bottom. On top, there's nothing you can do. X plus 2 is just x plus 2. But then the second fraction, the numerator, the second fraction, you could probably factor that one. And the way that you do this, remember, you take the 9 times the 4, which gives you a 36. Your middle number is -6. So what times what? Positive numbers give me a 36. And so it has to be positive numbers, but then when I go ahead and add them, it has to be a -6. So there is negative. So we're going to use negative numbers, multiply together to give me a positive 36. So I can think about -1, -36. Okay, they're negative numbers, gives me a positive 36. -2 and 18. -18, just kidding. A positive 36. -3 and -12. I could do a -4, -9. I can do a -6 and -6. And as I'm looking at this, none of these right here gives me a -6 when I add them, right? So like, so what do I do now? Then I go back to the question, I look and go, oh, 9 and 4. What do I know about them? They're perfect square roots, right? Because 9 is 3 squared. 4 is 2 squared. So in this case, it's a special factorization. So remember, with the special factorization, you do a 3x for the 9x squared, 2 and 2 for the positive 4. But then this is the part where it gets a little bit weird. You're going to put a plus and a minus. And that's where the special factorization comes from. Because if you do 3 times 2, it gives you a 6, right? And then together it gives you actually, no, it doesn't. Hold on. That actually wouldn't work. So let's change that to a negative. There we go. That works. Negative and a negative. Because that will give you a -6 or negative. Second, that's not going to work either. That should be a 12. -6x. Okay, so I'm going to have you guys do this instead. Sorry, let's just go ahead and write 12 right there. We'll just make it work. 12. And it has to be 12 because if I do this part, that gives me a -6x. I do the inside, -6x, has to be a -12x. So we'll just change it a little bit. I apologize. Change it to a -6x. 27x cubed. Okay, so then I take a look at the bottom right here. And this right here is going to be the cube factorization, okay? So your cube factorization is 3x cubed plus 2 cubed, right? And with the cube factorization, you saw this probably back in, I don't know, semester 1. The formula for this is a plus b times a squared minus ab plus b squared. And so you know that your a is 3x, your b is 2. Okay, so a equals 3x, b equals 2. So then a plus b is going to be a 3x plus 2. And then a squared is 3x times 3x, that's 9x squared. A times b is 3x times 2, so minus 6x, plus b squared. 2 times 2 is a 4. Okay, you're so not unlike me, but I'm sorry, I'm gonna make one more adjustment. So I'm going to go back over here, and I apologize. You're going to change that 12 to a 0. I'm just going to put 0x, and then I'm going to put a plus right there. Yeah, so then it would definitely have to be a 0x. I apologize. So just put a 0x right here, and then a plus right there. Okay, so then, and I'll make those adjustments next year. Let's take a look at this. On top, you have x plus 2, which is right here, times 3x plus 2, 3x minus 2. Those are your numerator. In your denominator, we're going to multiply across, which is just going to be this piece right here, times the 1 right here. So that's 3x plus 2 times net x squared minus 6x plus 4. Now, is there anything that's top and bottom that's exactly the same that you can just cancel out? Those two you can cancel out. So then you're left with x plus 2, 3x minus 2. You can go ahead and FOIL that, which once you FOIL it, it'll give you a first x and 3x is 3x squared. Your outside is going to give you a negative 2x. Your inside is going to give you a 6x. So negative 2x plus 6x is a 4x. And then your last is a 2 times negative 2, which is a negative 4. On the bottom, 3x squared minus 6x plus 4. And that, you guys, which I know is a lot, is your answer. And that's how we multiply rational expressions. So I'm just gonna go ahead and write myself a little note next year. So that way I can tell the kiddos to change to 0x. Right there. There we go. All right. All right, let's try the next one. Okay, so let's try number 5. Number 5 is a division, okay? And with this division, let's see how we're going to factor the top. So on the top, notice how there's 4 pieces. We're going to factor by grouping, okay? So I'm going to group them separately, like that. The first one, I notice there's an x cubed and an x squared. So I could take out an x squared, but then what goes back inside that first group, you'll have an x and a 3. That's your first group. Then with your second group, I notice that there's a negative 3 and a negative 9. I could take out a negative 3 from there, but then what goes back inside? Well, negative 3 times x is a negative 3x. Negative 3 times positive 3 gives me a negative 9. What do they have in common? Do you see how they have x plus 3 right there in common? So this is by grouping, okay? And I don't know if your teacher taught you guys this last year or the year before that, or semester 1 with Mr. Topu. But what you do is you take these 2 parentheses, like that, x plus 3, and then in the green, those 2 goes into its own parenthesis, like that. I know it's a little weird, but that's how you group it. And then on the bottom right here, you have x to the 3rd plus 3 cubed. It's another cube factorization, okay? And with this one, remember, a cubed plus b cubed, the formula is it's a squared, or a plus b times a squared minus ab plus b squared. So then what is your a? Well, I don't know about you. A looks like it's x. What is your b? B is 3. So once I have those numbers, I'm just going to plug it into this formula. A plus b is x plus 3. A squared is x squared. A times B is 3x. B squared is 3 times 3, which is a 9. And that's your bottom, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and compare. What do I have here on the numerator in comparison to my denominator? Are there anything that's the same? X plus 3 exactly the same, and I can cross that out. And so when I cross that out, what's left? I have x squared minus 3 over x squared minus 3x plus 9. And that's your answer. How are you guys feeling? Are you guys okay? I know this is a little difficult, and that's why we have like 2 or 3 days to talk about the subject. So if you're like, I don't like this at all, Callahan, I'm sorry. But you know, that's kind of where we are at. Let's take a look at number 6. Okay, so for number 6, you guys, take a look at the numerator. In the numerator, what can you factor out? I can see there's a 4 and a 2, so I can take a 2 out. I see an x and an x squared, I can take an x out. So then what goes back in? 2 minus x. That's the first part right there, okay? Then in the denominator, first denominator, what times what gives you a positive 6? But when you add the 2 numbers together, give you a negative 5. And at this point, you should know that 2 times 3 is going to give you a 6, but both of them have to be negative, so they add up to a negative 5. And when they multiply, it gives you a positive 6. Then let's look at the second denominator. What times what gives you a positive 3? I'm thinking 3 and 1, obviously. But then when you add them together, it gives you a negative 4. So minus, minus. All right, so we factored everything. Next, what we want to do is we want to change that division to a multiplication, okay? So in your numerator, 2x, 2 minus x, denominator, x minus 2, x minus 3. Change that division to a multiplication. And then what happens to your second fraction? Remember, you got to flip it. So then you have x minus 3 on top, x minus 1, and that 2x goes on the bottom. And then here comes the fun part. I know you're like, this is not fun, Callahan. I'm sorry. What do you have that's the same top and bottom? X minus 3 is the same top and bottom. 2x is the same top and bottom. Is there anything else that I can see that's exactly the same? Almost. I mean, I kind of see how it's x minus 2 and 2 minus x are very close, right? And this is one of those tricky things. Is there another way for me to write 2 minus x? Isn't 2 minus x the same thing as x minus 2? But if I take out a negative 1, do you see the negative 1 right there? It's exactly the same. It's just a different way of writing it. So then in addition to all of this, I could take the x minus 2 and take it out with the x minus 2. Next time I'll give you guys highlighters. I should have done that this time. Tomorrow I'll give you guys highlighters. So then I can cross out the 2x, that's gone. X minus 2, that's gone. X minus 3, that's gone. And you're like, okay, what's left over? Well, what's left over is going to be the part in yellow or orange. Negative 1, x minus 1. So my answer is just negative 1 times x minus 1 or negative x plus 1. That's your answer. Okay, last one, you guys. Example number 7. This will be the last one, I promise. Okay, so let's start with the first fraction. Let's take a look at the denominator, because the numerator 5x, you can't do anything with it. 3 and 12. I could take out a 3, x minus 4. Take a look at the second fraction. On top, I could take out an x, x minus 2. In the denominator, you can factor it out like this, and you ask yourself, what times what gives me an 8? So that's a 4 and a 2. But then when I add them together, it has to give me a -6. So that's a -4 and a -2. Let's change the division sign. So 5x over 3 times x minus 4 times. And when you change it to a times, you gotta flip that, okay? And if you flip it, you get x minus 4 on top, x minus 2 on top, x times x minus 2 on the bottom. Let's compare. What can you cancel? X minus 2 are exactly the same. X minus 4 is exactly the same, top and bottom. And there's one more. Do you see the x right there? They're exactly the same. So the ones I highlighted, you're just gonna cross them out because they just literally cancel each other out. And in blue, what's left? Five is left. The 3 is left. And yeah, that's your answer, 5 over 3, because everything else cancels out. All right, you guys. So your exit ticket today is going to be right here. So grab your cell phones. Yeah, go ahead and just sign out, my dear. I know that was a lot to take in. I'm sorry, but like, my philosophy is like, if I don't teach you guys the harder stuff, it's really doing you a disservice, because when you guys go to the next level and other teachers are teaching the kids the harder stuff, you're kind of behind, you know what I mean? So I really teach you guys the harder stuff out of love. Think about that like that. And so that's your exit ticket. So make sure you guys insert your name, and that way I'll check you out. Is Jessica here today, Jessica?